In the words of Randy Newman and David Kaplan on ESPN Chicago, I love LA. That and a whole lot more coming up next on this edition of the Setup Man postgame show, starting right now.
Woo!
Holy smokes. I mean, I suppose we should start with who we are, but I don't even know where to start. I am buzzing.
I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am.
I don't know who was closing the game out for us tonight. I don't know who that guy was, but we'll get there in a minute. But first, if you're new to the show, hi, I'm Alex Brawl, along with the Cubs podfather, Kyle Stanley, and you are listening to the Setup Man postgame show live on YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure to comment, subscribe, like this video, hit that little bell so you'll get notifications anytime we're up to anything. And the exciting thing, and tonight was such an exciting game, I can't wait to get to this part. We are going to take your calls just like old-fashioned sports radio. So Kyle will put the link to this video stream in the chat. All you gotta do is click that link and we will get to you in the third segment. So make sure you hang tight. If you come in early, we thank you for that. Hang tight. You'll have 30 seconds to get out your point and then a brief discussion afterwards on everything we are getting to. But speaking of getting to things, Kyle, there will be some changes after this week to the Setup Man postgame show.
Thank you. And we already see some people jumping into the backstage, so I'm really excited. This is, who was that closer tonight? I thought Presley was in the ninth inning. No, but there are some important changes, and before I get to those, make sure you share this, tweet it out, send it to your best Cubs fan friend. Let's get more people in here. Let's celebrate a phenomenal start to this West Coast trip. But this will be my last week doing every single postgame show with Alex and or Ty. I need to focus on a lot of other things like breakdowns, like interviews, and there's no way for me to be able to do all of these at once. I'm a one-man crew, but Alex has got you in great hands. He's going to be taking the helm on these post-game shows, and we would love for you to continue to invite people in, continue to join us, continue to be a part of the conversation at the end of the show as we continue to want to be the best Cubs content in the space, we're one of the only ones, if not the only one, giving you an opportunity to jump on stage with us during our post-game show. So make sure you just keep on tuning in, no matter if it's me or Alex or Ty or Sean, we're having fun. So, but before we get to the big stuff, Alex, I guess we got to start with the somber news, huh?
Yeah, so if you were living under a rock or haven't checked your phone because you're watching the Masters or the Cub game,
or like Brian taking a nap.
Yeah, today was such a great sports day. I mean, not in news terms, but I don't know how anyone could nap today. But let's start with the sad, because we're glass half empty kind of fellas. Justin Steele, if you haven't heard, I'm guessing, we don't know for sure. It sounds like Tommy John surgery. That was kind of up in the air. I don't know if you heard anything different, but it sounds like Justin Steele will miss the entire season due to elbow surgery. We're not sure, again, if it's Tommy John or not. But that leaves the Cubs in quite a pickle, even though they just won a series in LA. Kyle, where does this leave this Cubs rotation right now?
In a really confusing situation. But, I mean, if you get 95, 96 out of Colin Ray on a start like you did tonight, I'm not talking about pitches, guys. I'm talking about velocity. That blew my mind. He topped out at 96 tonight. I didn't expect that. Now, he also only went 3 2/3, but it looks like maybe he was on like a 65, 70 pitch limit. Either way, I'm getting off topic. Justin Steele, you've got a huge gap in your rotation now. Whereas Colin Ray was supposed to make spot starts, suddenly now he looks like a fifth starter unless you go get someone. So, Alex, you and I were kind of talking about it, and the gut reaction, including myself, is like, Jed's got to pick up the phone. He's got to go get someone. Dude, there's no one out there.
Not now.
There's no one. I mean, you look at, we got to convince Lance Lynn to come out of retirement. That's how desperate we might be. And I'm just joking there. I don't really want that. I mean, so when you look at free agents, there's no one. I mean, unless you want to do, I've got my list over to the side here. Unless you want to revamp guys over the age of 35 years old, 34 if you're Alex Wood. There's literally no one. Domingo Germán, I don't want to touch him with a 39.5-foot pole, even though he threw a perfect game 2 years ago. All these free agents look very, very bleak. So then you start saying, well, they got to go and make a trade, and Jed's got to pick up the phone. Well, it's not that easy. The Marlins are 8-7, and they're supposed to win 76 games this year, according to Pacoda. So they'll probably, end up finding that slump that they go into, and then Sandy will become available. But to say that he's available here 2 weeks into the season is probably not a real thing. Well, then you start looking internally. Oh, and by the way, I looked at the Rays, I looked at the A's, I looked at the Rockies. I obviously looked at the Marlins. There was one name I will say before I go internally here, and I want to get your take on internally after this. There is one name that intrigued me. And what you're looking for, guys, you're not looking for more starting pitching. You're looking for an ace or a really solid number 2, because that's what Justin Steele was. If we just need more pitching, well, hey, we got Chris Flexen. Hey, we got Javier Assad coming back. Hey, maybe Cade Horton can be rushed a little bit, maybe move him up a little bit here. But no one qualifies as a number 2 in all of the options that the Cubs have internally. And neither does this guy. But in terms of availability and results and probably not being a high-priced guy, what about Mackenzie Gore with the Nationals? Lefty.
Ooh, that is intriguing.
Had a 3.9 ERA last year, 32 starts, 166 innings pitched. He's only 26 years old. He's got basically looks like 3-ish years of control left. Anyone that you get right now. And by the way, I loved what ESPN was talking about, because you got a lot of people out there right now, and probably going to be some people in the comments here that are like, no one's available this early on. Remember, Luis Arraez was traded within the first 2 weeks of the season last year. So yes, there are guys that are still available for the right price. Jed, are you ready to pick up the phone? We don't need Owen Casey or Kevin Alcantara if you just extend Kyle Tucker now, which probably we won't know anything about that anytime soon. But if that happens now, then you don't need those outfielders. So now it's like, all right, those prospects are ready to go. Let's get a pitcher in here. So anyway, Mackenzie Gore jumped out to me, but I want to know internally from you, Alex, who do you think would be a dude outside of maybe Colin Ray who shoved tonight?
So just a quick touch on Mackenzie Gore. That, while it sounds great, I don't know why the Nationals would do that. I don't know that they're ready to like compete, but they're pretty frisky, and he's their best guy. And I watched a little bit of his last start. He looks pretty good. I don't know why the Nationals would be in a hurry to give him up. Now, if they're out of the race in July, maybe so, but I don't think they're giving up on him this early.
The only reason I say that is because Bakota has them winning 67 games this year. So a 95 loss team. And this team with all the, with Dylan Cruz and James Woods and all of these guys, CJ Abrams over at short, like the rebuild was supposed to be in fruition by this year, and it just hasn't happened. So that's why I look at that and say, like, okay, maybe this team needs a rebuild within a rebuild if they're really going to be that low on the Bakota standings. And I think they're 6-9, 6-10 to start the season, so not off to a good start.
No, they did just beat the Dodgers before we just did. I just want to make sure that everyone understands we beat the Dodgers in a series. So just to get that out there. I just don't see – that's one where I definitely don't see it. And that even might be an offseason thing. But let's talk internal options. So the candidates at the moment are Jordan Wicks, Javier Assad, Colin Ray, who I really thought was impressive tonight.
Very impressive.
Cade Horton, Chris Flexen. And then you and I kind of talked off air. I doubt it happens, but I think it should be mentioned. Brad Keller, maybe. I highly doubt it, and especially because he's looked so good in his role late innings. I would doubt it. But do any of those names really tickle your fancy at this point?
Well, you and I were texting about it. I thought if Brad Keller was extended out to like 2 1/3 or maybe, close to 3 innings, maybe even touching 3 innings, I thought, okay, maybe this becomes the swing guy and Colin Ray becomes the 5th starter. But he only went an inning and a third. And the only reason he came in the 4th inning was because Colin Ray was probably at his pitch limit and he walked Max Muncy to put him in a dicey situation there. So I want to say maybe Brad Keller, but also just like what you said, I think if he's in leverage situations, which again, like today, I don't know that was the best time to bring him in. If he was only going to go an inning, he's been one of your best relievers. Why are you bringing him in the 4th inning? I don't know. There's reasons for everything, but I think if you're looking for Cade Horton to be a savior, just you got to stop. We got to stop putting pressure on the prospects. It's not It's not going to be that way. It's not going to, maybe he comes in and he shoves right away. Yes. But then if he shoves right away and he's doing well, then now he's like at his pitch limit by August, and you're not even seeing him in October. So there's that. That's also why Cade Horton started late this season, from my understanding, was because they don't want him reaching his pitch limit too early on in the season. If you're looking at Jordan Wicks to be a savior, he's not going to be. That's not the kind of pitcher he is. He's a number 4 in this rotation right now, and that's what the Cubs have a lot of. They have a lot of Jordan Wickses and Colin Rays and Chris Flexens, and that'll get you some innings, but they're in a tough stretch right now, and so they need some guys to step up. So to me, it's more about Shota's got to step up. Matthew Boyd's got to step up. Jamison Tyone needs to step up. And if those guys do that, then, I guess at that point, you're just saying, okay, Colin Ray, do whatever you can do to get us some innings. We don't care if we win or lose because the other guys are taking care of business. And then you get a spot start from someone else every once in a while. So I don't know. It's tough, man, but I just don't think that there's a trade out there right now. And I don't think there's a free agent out there right now. Maybe in a month, but we're going through a really tough stretch right now. And it's going to be interesting to look back on this and say, hey, did the Colin Rays of the world or whoever gets called up do the job to keep us in the hunt, or was Steele's injury the beginning of the end, which I don't think it will be. I mean, look at how the team played tonight in LA. It was amazing.
Yeah. And we'll get to that in a second, but yeah, I agree with you. I don't know that there's going to be a trade. And if you are trading, you're going to have to way grossly overpay. Well, if you cash in all your chips now, what do you have if you need a bullpen piece in July? I do think probably, depending on how things go, July seems about right. But for me, I think it's going to be Jordan Wicks. I mean, maybe they'll probably stick with Colin Ray. Maybe they do something like, okay, this month we'll do Wicks, or this month we'll do Ray. Then this month we'll do. At this point, they're just trying to put the puzzle pieces together. So, yeah, I mean, the options aren't sexy by any means.
What about Trevor Bauer?
He seems happy in Japan.
Fine. There you go. Well said.
I like watching his YouTube stuff. I don't need him on the Cubs. That's okay. But I get the urgency, like, oh, that guy won a Cy Young. But I think it's going to be some combination of Assad, Wicks, Ray, and I'm with you on Horton coming off a major injury. Like, there's no need to push him at this point. But yeah, why don't we transition to some more happy stuff? Because I don't know that we're going to get any more info, and if there is more info, we will cover it on the post-game show later this week. But at the moment, we're all just kind of staring at each other like, oh, well, that sucks. So, You know what doesn't suck? Beating the Dodgers in LA 2 out of 3 games. Hell yeah.
Let's go.
Kyle, what was your biggest takeaway from this series?
I mean, I went into this series being like, I'm going to be happy if we don't get swept. So to win the series after not scoring a single run in game 1 is just like, this is Christmas in April. I mean, now you go over to the Padres, there's less pressure to go and win a series against the Padres. Because again, my expectation is still the same. Go back to Wrigley 3-3 from this road trip. If they somehow go 4-2 or better, wow, that would be amazing. But the Padres always play the Cubs tough, so I'm not going to get my expectations up on that. This series, man, I mean, today especially, and this series really, our bullpen only allowed 1 run.
Crazy.
Isn't that great?
Crazy.
Against the Dodgers. And it was Caleb Thielbar, and it probably should have been 2 or more, but the bullpen was great. Yesterday, the route was hilarious. I mean, the fact that you've got Miguel Rojas coming in and intimidating and impersonating his teammates. Like, who would have thought the Dodgers would ever this season have a position player throwing in a game that they're trailing in that much? From the other parts of this series, I loved how Matthew Boyd threw the other day. Even though he ended up giving up a 3-run home run to Tommy Edman, he looked really good. He was going toe-to-toe with Yamamoto that entire game. In fact, he looked like he was ready to go 7, maybe even 7+ in that game. And, you run into some tough luck there in the 6th inning. Ben Brown, I know Dave wants to chat. Ben is He looked like Ben Brown of 2024. That was fun. That was really fun. I can see him in the back. Yeah. Man, it was really fun. I was really not having fun on Friday, but the last 2 days was really fun. How about you, man?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you mentioned Ben Brown. My biggest takeaway from this whole experience is we went up against the Dodgers and pitched really well with our back three starters. It wasn't Shota, it wasn't Steele, it was Boyd, it was Brown, and today it was Colin Ray.
Yep.
Like, that's a really encouraging sign. No matter what you think of this rotation now, and obviously we're all a little bummed and a little down on this rotation, but that's really encouraging. They got 3 Hall of Famers to start their lineup. Like
It's
that,
it's
it's
something.
not.
Well, and that I don't know if you watched my breakdown, but that at bat that Ben Brown had against Freddie Freeman yesterday, where he made him miss strike 3 by like a foot. That's my favorite at bat so far for a Cubs pitcher this year. He made him look foolish. Check swing to start off the at bat, and then he's like playing defense on a fastball down the middle on the second pitch, and then ends up missing strike 3 by a foot. I was just like, this. That was really fun. Yeah. So 100%. I'm looking up something here because I'm really curious. But go ahead and finish your thought, and then I want to tell you something.
Well, so Matthew Boyd, I've loved the experience so far, and not to go back to the negative, but I also think this is a reason why depth is going to be so important. So even though we're not talking about Cade Horton and Chris Flexen right now, Matthew Boyd has an extensive injury history. But if he can give you this all year and stay healthy, what a boost. This guy, we gave what, $15 million AAV, average annual value? And at the time, we're like, oh my God, why are we paying this guy this much money?
Yeah.
And he's been awesome through April so far.
So good. Dude, I want to point something out here. So it was Wednesday, right? Tyler Maley, however you say his name. I made a point to you and I said, the Cubs came out on fire last year as well. By the way, we got over 130 people in the room right now. This is fun. Sunday night, loving this. Hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. And I said, the Cubs were walking at a rate last year, kind of similar to how they've been this year on a walk to strikeout percentage. And then teams started throwing strikes to them. And it's like they didn't know how to hit. They were just getting their runs because they were making pitchers throw a lot of pitches. But then when pitchers didn't throw a lot of pitches, then they couldn't hit. Well, the last 3 games, of course, Yamamoto, you have to throw Friday's game out. Yamamoto shoved. That was one of the most impressive 6 innings I've ever seen thrown against the Cubs. Every fastball was dotted. Every splitter was right where he wanted it to be. When Cubs were taking balls, you were like, wow, that was a good take. Every single time. They only walked once on Friday and they were shut out. So I was kind of like, oh my gosh, Alex, what did we just talk about? But again, asterisk by that because Yamamoto shoved and then the bullpen came in and did their job with the Dodgers. Yesterday, the Cubs only walked 4 times. They scored 16 runs. Today, the Cubs only walked twice. They scored 4 runs, and that was against a really good Tyler Glasnow. When they did swing, they were putting the ball in play or they're making contact. I'm very encouraged the last 2 days by this offense from a team, an opposing team that was throwing strikes and wasn't trying to nibble the edges. They were attacking the Cubs, and the Cubs answered. That was really cool for me to see.
And again, I know I said this last week to you on this show. Like, this team can show you they can win in a multitude of different ways. Today was one of the, they didn't have much working. There wasn't a lot of traffic tonight. PCA, 2 home runs. Massive for that kid who's been slumping lately. Massive. Michael Busch continues to torture the Dodgers. Take that, Dodgers. We got a guy finally from you. I mean, it's just, and even Matt Shaw, yes, the bat, I'm a little concerned. But his defense, he made 2 outstanding plays tonight, including one that totally changed the game late in the game.
Yeah.
A diving, well, not really diving, a lunging catch to rob Kike Hernandez.
It was still a great play.
He's
great point. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So even the young guys that aren't swinging the bat really well, they're still really making an impact on this team, which is insane. Because we would have thought Matt Shaw, okay, the defense might be a little shaky, the bat will be there. It's been the opposite. So those were my biggest takeaways. I don't know, before we get on to our next segment, do you have anything else you want to mention from this series? I know there's probably a lot we missed.
We talked a lot about the series, and I want to talk about this game specifically for a second. I mean, Colin Ray was throwing 95 miles an hour on average in the first 3 innings. And then in that last inning, it kind of dipped off a little bit. So his final average velocity was 94.4 miles an hour. He topped out at 96 miles an hour. That fastball was riding. He came out and he struck out Shohei and Mookie to set the tone in this game. I was furious on my end. I couldn't get the game. I was like, what's going on? I can't watch it. Freaking Fubo won't let me sign up. Hulu isn't working, all this stuff. So I was furious. But then when I go and watch those replays, I'm like, oh my gosh, Colin Ray coming out, making a statement. Brad Keller comes in, cleans it up. Caleb Thielbar, not so great. But then you had Ethan Roberts come in, clean up his mess. Merriweather, Hodge, and Presley allowed 1 base runner in the 7th through the 9th innings. And that was just a breath of fresh air. In fact, I'm going to give Carl Ravitch some credit because he said the Cubs bullpen, they're doing really well this year. And we all went, huh? And he breathed some life into the Cubs bullpen, man. They did their job. PCA finally. I want to look and see what changed in the swing, because yesterday I was talking about how it just looks like he's missing the fastball. Fastball's right down the middle of the zone. He hit the fastballs in the middle of the zone today. 2 home runs. Michael Busch just kept going, and the defense was unfreaking believable.
Yes, sir.
There was one inning. I can't remember which inning it was, but it was 2 pitch. It was the Brad Keller second inning. It was 2 pitches, 2 outs, and it was a diving play by Matt Shaw. And then it was a really tough play by Nico in the hole over towards first base. And it was just like, wow, that inning could easily be first and third right now with nobody out. Instead, it's 2 pitches, 2 outs. I loved it. I'm fired up. I don't know if you're fired up like me, but I'm fired up. This is to play this well at Chavez Ravine, Sunday Night Baseball, defense, pitching, hitting, clutch. Nico getting that big 2-out hit. That was huge. It was just fun, man. It was a really fun game.
Yeah. And I'm fired up. I mean, I sang a Randy Newman song as the cold open. Like, of course I'm fired up. This is great. And look, you mentioned him. I got to give a little extra love. Ryan Presley. Thank you.
Wow.
I see the vision now. He was nasty. Holy cow. If this, I mean, it's not going to be this every time. I understand. But holy cow, he went toe-to-toe with Freddie Freeman. Shout out to Dansby for making an incredible play. And then Ohtani looked foolish on a couple swings. And then obviously got him to ground out to first. But Ryan Presley, man, we have been so hard on you. Rightfully so, by the way. But tip of the cap to you, sir. You were unbelievable. Same with Porter Hodge. Porter Hodge was flat out disgusting tonight. So the back end of the bullpen, this is the vision. Merriweather to Hodge to Presley. I see it. I get it. We need it more consistently. But for tonight, man, oh man, that was pretty to watch.
It was really pretty. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'll be honest. When PCA tripled in the top of the 9th inning and then didn't score, and you had Shohei looming as the number 3 batter coming up in the bottom of the 9th, I really thought to myself, that's going to come back to bite the Cubs. I really did. I don't think any of us felt any differently. And in fact, when Dansby, so Busch in the 8th inning, was it? Busch took strike 3.
Yes.
With a man on third. And then Dansby swung at 3-0 and popped out in foul territory. And at that point, I was like, okay, Nico's not coming through with a clutch hit because momentum is not on our side, because that's what we're used to. That's what we're used to as Cubs fans, and especially in recent years. And proven wrong twice. And I love that I was proven wrong. By the way, this was great. Frank said, oops, wrong one. Frank said, need to have PCA's parents at every game.
If that's what it takes, I have no money, but I will personally find a way to fly them out. I don't know if I got to go in a street corner and run a lemonade stand. I don't know. But if that's what it takes, because he was unbelievable tonight. Even his last at-bat, he got a triple and didn't score. But just the determination on his face, he saw it get by whoever was playing first tonight. It wasn't Freeman. I think it was Hernandez. And all of a sudden, it was like, oh, he's going 3. It doesn't matter. Where Hernandez gets the ball in the corner, he's going 3. He's just, if he could just figure out to hit more consistently, my God, he's 75 million is cheap. And I know we didn't talk about those rumors either, but
Yes.
yeah, there's a lot more shows this week. We can't get to everything. We're already pushed up against the clock. So we're going to take a short break, hear a message from our friends at Obvious Shirts. Then we will go over sins and take your calls. But first, our friends at Obvious Shirts.
Setup Nation, I want to take a quick break so that you know how you can support our channel and wear some cool swag like this. We've teamed up with Obvious Shirts to give you a chance to have your very own Setup Man shirt or hat. Pick from 3 different types of shirts or my personal favorite, the trucker hat. Go to the link in the description of this video and podcast to claim your Setup Man apparel. And thank you so much for supporting our channel.
So since we were negative in the top half of the show with all the injury news, and we didn't even mention Carson Kelly got banged up tonight, Seiya Suzuki is day-to-day with a wrist injury, we're going to be glass half full kind of guys now. Instead of set up sins, we're going to change it up a little bit. Set up blessings. We got to be more positive on this show. So what were the positives tonight? PCA, 2-homer night. Just hard hit balls for that kid at this point is all he needs to see. You saw signs of it last night. Today, 2 homers. It really was the difference in the game. He carried the offense tonight. Colin Ray in the bullpen, we just mentioned it a segment ago. They were outstanding tonight. And then Nico Horner in the clutch when they desperately needed it. As Kyle mentioned, all momentum seemed to be lost. We're all going, oh, God, they're bleeped. They are absolutely bleeped. Here we go again. And then Nico freaking Horner comes through in the clutchest of all clutch spots for this team. Unreal, man. I can't stop smiling. I am so jacked up right now.
Yeah, the problem is my wife, being a Dodgers fan, just doesn't even know what the final score was either because she's having pregnancy pains. It was in bed the entire time watching our daughter. So I have to give her the bad news for her. But I'm going to tell you guys this really quick. I'm going to be releasing a reel later this week on all of our platforms. She made the most badass nursery Cubs themed for our soon-to-be son born on May 20th, and I'm going to be releasing that. It's sick. We're talking Wrigley Ivy. We're talking everything. So be on the lookout for that. But I don't know what else there is to say about this game, man. It's just like, yes, Justin Turner struck out 3 times looking. We could call that a sin. Yes, we could talk about how Dansby and Michael Busch didn't come through with a runner on third. Yes, we could talk about how PCA hit a triple and was stranded on third in what seemed like a really pivotal situation. But none of those ended up having any bearing in the final outcome of this game. But those setup blessings, they were huge. And PCA, to me, man, I don't need him hitting 2 home runs a night. I don't need him hitting 20 home runs this year. If PCA hits 12 home runs, has a 720 plus OPS, and just gets on base at like a 310 clip, I'm not asking for a lot, 310. It completely changes this offense.
Mm-hmm.
It completely changes it. He's batting 8th, and he accounted for 2, should have been accounted for 3 runs tonight had he just scored from that triple, which, by the way, I think it was Patrick Mooney tweeted out right before we went live. Seiya Suzuki, the last person in MLB to have 2 home runs and a triple in a game, and that was last year, August of 2024. So Cubs have that down for some reason. Again, like it's huge. It's so huge. And speaking of which, I want us to stop talking and I want to bring people in here. So I just put the link down once again. And Alex, you might go ahead and play the promo, and then I want to say something.
Absolutely. Here we go. So our intro to our new call segment, Thoughts in 30.
You suck! On your marks, get set, go!
So I'll let you get your thought out before I go through the spiel.
Go through the spiel, and then I'll get my thought out.
All right. So the spiel is, so it is time for Thoughts in 30. That's when we invite you, the fans, to call in and share your thoughts and questions in under 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, we'll keep you on stage. We'll have a little discussion after that if necessary. If you just want to say Cubs win, eat it, Dodgers, and get out of here, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. But make sure you click that link, come on in, and then give your thoughts. We'll have a little banter and go from there. But before we open the lines, Kyle, your thoughts.
Yes. Well, and I already know who I'm speaking to, and he knows who I'm speaking to. But we're not limiting you guys to 30 seconds in this. What we want you to do is we want you to get out the most important stuff in the first 30 seconds. We'll have a conversation, and then we'll go into, after that, any other moments. So I can already see him laughing in the background, and that's why we're going to bring him up first. But I want everyone to know that we're not trying to get you in and out of 30 seconds. We love talking to you guys. What we're trying to eliminate is the rambling and having you guys stay up and repeat yourselves. We want to have a really cool conversation, and let's just come in, talk about it, and let's get to the next thing too. So you want to invite up our first guest?
Absolutely. Friend of the show.
There he is.
Smiling. He is ready.
I was at the Trash Pandas game last night, and I was tracking Ben Brown, and I saw he'd gone 6 scoreless with 5 strikeouts and no walks, and I said, Alex Brault, and I started texting like right away.
I saw you in my Facebook mentions today, but I got to start the clock for you, so here we go. Here's your 30.
I love this team. This team has the it factor. And yes, Steele's news today was a gut punch for everybody across. But look at the way this team responded tonight against the World Series champion who has a stacked lineup. And we beat them. We beat them in every facet of the game tonight.
And this series.
Yeah, and so here's my thing. Justin's got to go on the 60-day IL, which is going to open up a 40-man spot. And I want to give you a name, and I know I'm out of time. Connor Noland at AAA right now. He's pitched 3 games. He's had 3 starts. He's pitching a 169 ERA with a 143 batting average against. He's a starter.
Yeah. I was looking at that. The only reason I didn't mention him, Dave, and there's always those guys, right, who no matter if they're not high on the prospect list, just somehow come up and deal. I don't remember where Kyle Hendricks was on the prospect list, but he just kind of comes across as that kind of guy too. Is Connor Noland maybe a guy that could do that and make an impact, and he's not on the top 30? Yeah, but that was really the only reason, is because no one's really talking about him, and it's such a small sample size. But yes, especially Alex and I were texting about it, especially with Brandon Birdsell. I mean, that's a looming injury right now. He was the minor league pitcher of the year for the Cubs last year, and he's not even available because of stuff that he's going through. So maybe Connor Noland ends up being a dude.
Yeah, I've read Birdsell's out to at least mid-season. So the other thing I was going to say was Cade Horton. I think, he might get a 40-man spot and I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Would you start him, or would you have him bring him in and toss Thielbar and have Cade be one of your trust tree guys in the late innings? Because, he could go hard for 1 inning and, not risk that arm.
What do you think, Alex?
Well, here's what I'll say to the Thielbar thing. And I think it's interesting just because I saw it today as I was watching the game. I was scrolling through X or Twitter or however you call it. Jordan Wicks recorded a 3-inning save today. Just write it down in your notebooks. Just something to keep an eye on. But maybe that's a swingman lefty thing. I don't know. I would personally keep him in the rotation, but
I think that might also be treated as kind of like his bullpen between starts. Because he was supposed to start, I think it was Thursday, and didn't end up starting.
Yeah.
May I ask one last question before I go?
Let's hear it.
Absolutely.
If Colin Ray is starting, who's our bulk guy right now?
I don't know if you heard earlier on. That's what I was kind of talking about with Brad Keller. I thought maybe tonight he would go 2-3 innings. I thought maybe that's why he was coming in the 4th inning, right? Was okay, This guy's been one of the more reliable guys. Why not keep him for the 7th or at worst 6th? So when Alex and I were talking about it, I was like, okay, if he comes in for 2 or 3 innings, I think that's meaning that he's the new swingman. But now I don't know. I think it has to be. If you're looking at our current guys, I think it has to be Keller, maybe Morgan, but Morgan hasn't had much success this year.
We haven't seen Morgan at all. He needs to be on a milk carton soon.
Yeah, he didn't pitch this weekend. But Dave, thank you for calling in. Oh, you got one more thing?
Kyle, I'm with you. I'm happy if we can go 3-3, but now that we've gone 2-1 against the Dodgers, I'm greedy. I think the way this team is playing, 4-2 is a realistic goal. Because now we've got Shota, Tyon going in San Diego. Come on, boys, let's get it.
Don't give me hope, Dave. Don't threaten me with a good time.
Thank you, Dave.
We'll see ya. Appreciate
it. My greedy moment, Alex, is going to be a 4-2 road trip and a Kyle Tucker extension. How about that?
Oh God, really, seriously, don't threaten me with a good time. I will be running up and down my neighborhood street at 9:30 at night. Let's go to our next caller, Jacob, also a returning caller. What's going on today, sir?
Pretty good. I mean,
Pretty good.
Win. Yeah, pretty good.
Should be amazing. We just beat the Dodgers.
Well, I'm sore as hell. I had a baseball game last night, and I only got through 7 out of 9 innings in 3.5 hours. So,
oh yikes!
That's a long day at the park. All right, so your 30 seconds I am going to put on right now. So you are on the clock, sir.
Well, first, I want to say with what I wanted to say with PCA a little bit ago. My internet wasn't working, couldn't get on. Was what I noticed about him recently is that he's doing what Javi Baez did the last couple of years, and if you're in the conversations with Javi Baez, not really the greatest right now. But what was happening is that PCA was not being aggressive early in the count, getting to 2 strikes and then expanding the zone a ton. He was not going after pitches that he should. Today, you look at his homer, you look at his 2 homers, you look at his triple. I think they were all on like the first or second pitch of his at bat, because he was attacking the ones in the zone instead of attacking the pitches that are in the dirt or out, meant for that to happen.
Sure. Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, Jacob. I want to respectfully disagree, just because his swing rate this year, outside of a couple at bats where it looks like he almost goes into the at bat saying like, I'm going to take a bunch of pitches this at bat, I feel like he's swinging at almost everything. And then in the last 3 or 4 games, he's been more patient. And I said it yesterday on X. I was just like, man, the fastball's right down the middle of the plate. He just looks late. And my point was maybe a lighter bat, but hey, he figured it out today. So whatever he did, man, I need him to do more of that.
Yeah. And like going kind of back against you there, as I think PCA, there's like some players, like I know for me when I've played baseball, or I know like a couple other people I've watched, if they're not being aggressive, they're not going to be successful, period. And that was what I was thinking, is that he's not being aggressive when he wants to be aggressive, and it's forcing him to, be aggressive at an 0-2 count where, you could just throw curveball or, slider, and, he will swing at one of them.
I think selective aggression is the right term, because someone like Kyle Tucker is selectively aggressive. He's not up there like, well, here we go. First pitch, I'm swinging no matter what. So, Jacob, we got other callers we got to get to. So we appreciate your call. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Jacob. Hey, by the way, we're almost at 200 people in the room, so everyone's excited about this series win. Make sure you guys are liking the video. If you haven't liked it yet, please do us a favor, do that. That helps a ton.
And I see some new faces in the call sheet here, so I'm very excited. Let's go, people. Let's bring in another returning caller, Will, who is there. He is.
Who is at the game?
You know where I'm at. You already know where I'm at. All of LA knows where I'm at today. What's going on, fellas?
What's happening? I don't even think I have to give you a clock. You've been so good.
Will, really quick before we start the clock,
what's up?
If you were a betting man, would you believe that we would have, after losing game 1 the way that we did, thinking that we would be coming out here with a series win?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not with Colin Ray having to pitch today. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
100% no. Nobody's more thrilled than me.
Today.
I'm glad Dave shouted out Connor Nolan. You know how I feel about him. Like, he was my neighbor in Greenwood, Arkansas. So nice. I know Connor.
That's awesome.
Throw that 30 seconds up. I'll get it done and out of here really quick.
All right, your time starts now.
Cubs. That's all I'm going to say. Cubs.
Ooh.
Hell yeah. I love it.
Cubs. Oh, did I say it wrong? Cubs. No, but seriously, I agree. I'm kind of getting greedy. Even though Cease pitches absolutely lights out against us,
he does.
I really think if we win tomorrow against Cease, we're going to have a 5-1 road trip. Screw 4-2. We're going 5-1 on the road trip.
Let's go. But you're right. He dominates us.
Oh, 100%. Y'all have a good night, though.
Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it.
Will.
Yeah.
Oh my God, these callers. I don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight. I have to go to bed after this. I don't know how I'm going to. This is amazing. I love the energy. Let's go to, and forgive me if I'm saying, some Smiley 88. He's shaking his head. But let's bring him in. What's going on, sir?
Hello, go Cubs.
Go
Hell
Cubs.
yeah, brother.
So I got a rhetorical response that I'm going to say, and then an actual question.
All right.
So the rhetorical thing is going to be, why haven't we signed Trevor Bauer yet? I mean, I know there's a lot of issues with him, but
actually, I don't know how that works. I know he's pitching in Japan at the moment. I don't know how that works though. If he signs over there and starts pitch, I have no clue how that works.
I don't know.
I think we need to bring him over. But the real question is, if Pete Crow, if he basically laughed at 75 mil, how much do you think it'll realistically take for the Cubs to get him? And is it too early to sign him? Is it too
No,
early
it's not. I mean,
I
I vouched for this on the off season, and so did our resident author, Arthur. And we both were kind of in the same range. It was like, 8 years, 80 to 120, somewhere in that range. And I thought 80 was the really low end because Jackson Churio, that's what he signed for. I believe it was 8 years, 80 million, or it was 10 years, 80 million, one of the two. And I thought to myself, well, Jackson Churio did that before seeing a major league pitch, where Pete Crow Armstrong has already proven that he can have at least 2 months of really good baseball in a major league season. So that automatically makes him more valuable. So I thought it was going to be like 8 years, 100, maybe 110. So when I heard 75, that computes to me as like, I don't think they would do that for 4 years because you're going through arbitration at that time. So it's got to be at least 7 years, and 75 just, I don't think that does it. I don't think it does it. So anyway, my point to you is within the next 2 weeks, if they reopen that, or in the next 2 months, it needs to be probably at that point, 8 for 100 is where I'm at.
Okay, thank you guys. Go Cubs.
Yep. Thank you. By the way, Alex, oh no, this happens to Alex every once in a while. His screen freezes up and he just disappears. So I guess I'm taking the realm here. Alex, if you can hear us, man, you are frozen. Just go ahead and remove yourself and come back in. I don't know why that happens with his computer. All right, I'm going to go to one more caller. We'll see if Alex can come back in so I can tell him what I was going to talk about with Dylan Cease. Who's daddy? Are you there?
I'm here, guys.
What's up?
Hey, the last guy kind of stole my thunder.
Okay.
Why not Trevor Bauer? I mean, he was proven innocent or not guilty in his court trial. And yeah, everybody says he's a jerk, but Pete Rose was a jerk. Ty Cobb was a jerk. Barry Bonds was a jerk. All great players.
So, what I'll say to you, can I call you by a name? Do you have a name?
Yeah, Chris.
Chris, thanks for calling in, Chris. What I'll say to you is, if you haven't watched my interview with his good friend who he sees on a daily basis, not anymore because he's in Japan now, but we did an interview, and this was actually a former Cubs bullpen catcher. So go check it out. If you just look on the YouTube channel and you search Trevor or Bauer, you'll find the video. And he had so many good things to say about Trevor Bauer, which leads me to believe that there's just this like reputation that he's just not going to take off of his name. It's like it's in ink. I don't know what else more to say there, because when people who are close to Trevor Bauer say really good things about him, yet all of Major League Baseball is like, hey, we won't touch him. What's going on here? I think Alex is in the background moving stuff. So when he's back there and he's making an opportunity, there's Alex. He's going to come back in now. Hey, what's up, man?
I don't know what genuinely just happened. My internet just decided.
You're back. So we're talking about Trevor Bauer. And so what my point is here, Chris, is I just don't think that the league and the managers and the owners they're all getting together and they're all saying, we're just not going to touch this guy. And there's probably something more there that we don't know about. And that's the way that this stuff works, right? Like there's stuff that still is under wraps. Maybe it's BS. Maybe it's not BS. We don't know. But all I know is, as good as he is and as great of a person as he is from the people that are near him, there's got to be something deeper there.
Well, that's too bad,
Yeah.
because I think the Cubs could use him right now.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Especially now, especially after Justin Steele.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I'm 70 years old, Cub fan since the 60s. and born in the Chicago area, and I'm down in southern Missouri now, retired and loving it here. But you
That's
guys
awesome.
are one of my Cub contacts that I get to watch because I can't watch the games on TV here.
Oh no, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. Well, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate you.
Hey, thanks.
All right, we'll see you, Chris.
Yep. Bye.
All right, you're back with us, Alex.
Yeah, I'm back. Someone said sticky stuff. Yeah, they were checking me out. I cleared. We're fine. But man, oh man, you love technology when it works, right? But I'm back. But we're at 45 minutes, and I missed the Trevor Bauer conversation. Probably good that I did. But anyway, if you called in, thank you so much. Make sure you like this video, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell, so anytime Kyle puts a breakdown on, we're doing a post-game show, anything like that, you'll be informed when that little bell rings your phone and getting alerts and whatnot. Kyle, this was a blast, man.
Do you want to talk about tomorrow's game really quick? Because I got a nugget for you.
Oh, yes. Why don't we? I don't have my whole systems down. So if you got the matchup and stuff, great.
You're good. While you're in no man's land, I'll tell you this. Dylan Cease, 1-1, 7.98 ERA. So not off to a good start this season. However, in 7 career starts against the Cubs, spanning 41 and 2/3 innings, a 2.38 ERA. So as Will said, he shoves against the Cubs. So then that's game 1. Game 2 is going to be Imanaga versus Randy Vasquez, who we saw in Wrigley, that cutter kind of soft stuff. Randy Vasquez, that we won that game 3-1, I think was the final on that one. And then Matt Boyd and Nick Pivetta both coming in with a 1.59 ERA on Wednesday. So, I mean, shoot, you if you want a series win right now, this is the 3 guys you want going.
Yeah, and it kind of feels like this is a house money series. And what I mean by that is like, oh, you just beat the Dodgers. We didn't think we were going to get this far. Now, don't let up. Go after the Padres. But, if you go 1-2, we go home 3-3. Cool. House money series. Play fast, play loose. Let's fly some W's.
Let's do it.
Absolutely. And again, thank you all so much. I apologize for the sticky fingers and getting checked out, and I was gone for a couple minutes, but thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell. And yeah, check out all of the content all across the Setup Man Network. Tomorrow I am off because it's a late game and I live in the Central Time Zone. So it will be Kyle and Ty the next 2 nights while the Cubs are in San Diego. And then Wednesday I will be back for that 3:00 game against the Fathers of San Diego. But anyway, thank you so much. Kyle and I, we had a lot of fun. We're going to go put our arms on ice. Thank you again. We'll see you tomorrow.
Go Cubs.